Hello and welcome. I recently, at a store I was at, found some duck breasts. Haven't seen them in a store here in a long time, and I haven't cooked duck in a long time. So here they are. It's a 2-pack. And we're gonna make pan-seared duck breast served with glazed carrots and mashed potatoes and gravy made with the duck fat. And it's gonna be good, and let's get it done. First thing we're gonna do is season the fat side of the duck breasts with some salt and pepper. Because I want to render our duck fat, we're going to start with a cold pan, and we're going to put our duck breasts in, skin side down, and then we're going to turn it on to medium heat and let it heat up slowly and slowly render the fat. I'm going to put the juices in too. Let's get going. It's time to season the other side of our duck breasts with some more salt and pepper. And I felt like I should have sprayed this pan, and I forgot. But we'll see how the duck breast fat keeps it from sticking. And let's go. Our duck breast is starting to sizzle up, and it's not rendering the fat as good as it is. So I am going to turn down the heat to medium low. Our duck breasts inside are nicely seared. And a pretty good amount of fat has been rendered. I want to save this fat, so I'm going to put these in another plate for a minute. I'm going to reserve this fat. This much, a couple of tablespoons. Now we're going to sear this side of our duck breast for just a few minutes. And we're going back into that baking dish, and I'm going to finish them up in the oven, which I'm preheating to 350. Here we are, seared up. The other sides are slightly seared. And we're going to transfer them to this baking dish. And this is the pan that we're going to make our gravy in. We'll have to get this stuff off the bottom, but we'll do that in a little minute. This is going into these duck breasts are going into the oven for about 10 or 15 minutes. Right now, the internal temperature is 135, so they're medium rare. So we want to cook them up a little bit more. And in they go. We're going to deglaze this pan with a little bit of chicken stock. Rape up the brown bit. Turn off the heat. I'm going to add this to the chicken stock and make a little more chicken stock for when we make our gravy, because this will give it a lot of nice flavor. The first side we're going to start with is our potatoes. These are 2 large russet potatoes, peeled and cut into cubes, and we're going to boil them up. We're also going to start cooking our carrots. This is 3 good-sized carrots, and they're going in with a couple of tablespoons of butter over medium heat. Our butter is now bubbly, and in goes our carrots. Sear them up, not sear them up, but stir them up, start the cooking, and we're going to cover them up and finish them. We've got to season our carrots with a little sprinkle of salt and pepper. Our carrots are starting to sizzle up, and when they get a little bit softened, like I say, then we're going to cover them up and keep cooking them until they're tender. Our potatoes have reached a boil, and it's probably going to take about 20 minutes or so to cook them up. And we're going to pierce them, and when they're nice and tender, then we're going to mash them up. The next step is to make our gravy. Here's our duck fat, and it's not quite enough fat, Add a little butter, and in we go. And when that gets bubbly, we're going to create a roux with a little sprinkle of flour. Now time for our flour. Let's see how thick that is. Looks like we're going to need a little more. This gravy needs a little bit of seasoning too. But we're going to use chicken stock, so it doesn't need a whole lot, but that's salty. I think I want this roux to be a little bit thicker. Our roux has reached a good thickness. Now it's time to add our duck broth and chicken broth mixture. It's time for our broth to go in. It smells so good. I'm going to switch to a whisk, make sure that our gravy is nice and smooth. Looks like we may need to thin it out just a little bit. Just another little drizzle of broth. And we're going to keep going. Our gravy has made to a nice consistency. And now we're going to set it aside, put a cover on it, and keep it warm. Our duck breasts are out of the oven. They temp out at 155, so they're pretty nicely done and tender, and they're going to be yummy. And now we're going to move on with our sides and our gravy. I believe our potatoes are cooked up. Let's give them a poke. Oh yeah, perfectly done. Now we're going to drain them and mash them. Our potatoes are all drained up. And I'm going to transfer them to a bowl. I always found that the creamiest way to make the creamiest mashed potatoes is to rice them first. So we're going to transfer some of these taters into this ricer. And spin them around. Keep going till they're all riced. Our potatoes are fully riced, and now in goes a couple tablespoons of butter, some salt and pepper, stir around till the butter is melted. Because it took so long to rice these, we may have to put it back on the heat to melt this butter, but I think it's going to work. It did work. The butter's all melted. Now in comes a little splash of half and half. Make it nice and creamy. Stir that around too. Incorporate that into the potato as well. Here are our smooth and creamy mashed potatoes, and I'm going to put a cover on this pan and set it over low heat to keep it warm till we're ready to serve up our meal. Our carrots are all done. The knife slides in and out with no resistance. And now we're going to glaze them. We're glazing them because duck goes well with sweetness. And we're going to start with a little sprinkle of brown sugar. Yeah, not a little sprinkle, about a tablespoon. And a drizzle of maple syrup. Stir them around and coat them up. Smelling good. Here are our sweet glazed carrots, looking yummy, smelling yummy, and they taste good too. So now we're going to get ready to serve our pan-seared duck breast dinner. We're going to slice up our cooked duck breasts, and then we're going to serve them up with our sides and our gravy. Looking so yummy on the inside. All sliced up and ready to serve. Our sliced duck breasts are now on our plate, and here comes the rest of our sides. Here comes our creamy mashed potatoes. That's probably a good amount. Make a little dent to hold the gravy. It's going to be so good. Here comes a spoonful of our glazed carrots. Going on. I think that'll be a good amount too. We're going to top it off with gravy. And the final step is the gravy. Over the potatoes and the duck breast. We're all plated up. Duck breast, mashed potatoes, glazed carrots, duck gravy, and now we're gonna give it a taste. Thank you for joining me while I had fun playing with my duck breast that I bought. And here we are on a fork. We got duck, carrots, mashed potatoes, and now we're going in. That was a nice combination, and it's gonna make a great dinner, and we'll see you again soon. Have a good one.